Hello Glee fans, this is Shamus Kelley, video producer for the Towerlight, here with your opinionated Glee review of Season 3, Episode 10, Yes/No. Just let you know, I'm actually at home right now, I'm not in the office, so I wigged up this little place in my room with my Glee box set right there as a little decorative thing. But anyway, let's get into this week's episode. After the long winter hiatus, people are like, why did it have to go on break? Shows go on breaks, people. It happens. We come back with an episode that it's almost a very typical Glee episode in that there are some things that are good and they do well. Then there are things that are like, where did this come from, guys? Come on, let's try a little harder. And some of the songs were good, some of the emotions were good, some of the gay stuff was good, but it still was not great and it made people really furious online. And we're going to talk about that as we go through. Now, one of the big parts of this episode was the character of Becky and how she talks in like a quote-unquote normal person voice, although that's really terrible and that's the only way I'm going to use to describe it. She talks in that Elizabethan, straight talking, whatever accent. And I was completely fine with that. I kind of liked the characterization of Becky in this episode that they made them out to be, a person who likes people and has feelings, and she's very confident in herself, and I really liked that. And the way they treated her plot was pretty good. At first I was watching, like, I'm not sure how to feel about this, but then when we got to the end, it worked out, and I like that. And I like that Glee is giving that much attention to a character that most shows would have a one-off episode about and then completely forget about. Glee has been pretty good about Becky, and that's what I like about that. So the other part of the episode was the whole Will Schuester and Emma thing. A lot of people don't like Will Schuester and Emma. They don't really like the adults on the show at all. And, they sort of have them trying to bring in the adult audience, and also kids can relate to things that aren't necessarily their age. Whatever. I liked Emma in this episode. Completely fine, consistent characterization, very OCD about stuff. And her speech about, this is the person you get, you had this incomplete person. That was sweet. That was cute. Schuester listens to her crazy parents who are really over the top. Another thing that Glee problem has is that they take some things just too over the top. We'll get to that for the end of the episode, trust me. But her characterization of Emma's was really good in this episode, although once again Sue was being really nice and they're making her into a human, but then sometimes she's not a human and she's just really angry and screw you all and kind of evil. Once again, consistent characterization is like a myth on Glee. But anyway, then Sam. Wow, Sam is doing things now. Remember how I complained when he left or when he came back that last season, he didn't do anything? Like, he did maybe 5 things and that was it the whole season. They're giving him things to do. I liked the song from Grease at the beginning. It was a very effective use of the song. And it was calling back to what they had established in the first episode of the season, that they had like a summer fling thing. And the Grease thing worked, and they recreated a lot of the shots from Grease. I've seen Grease and it was good. I liked it. Once again, though, they made it work with this episode that she's like, oh, I actually am still in love with him, even though I already have this boyfriend, Shane. So the whole thing with Mercedes and Sam, I was kind of getting more on board with, because now Sam is actually doing something. Wow, crazy. Now, they almost make it out now that with the thing with Shane is that we don't necessarily hate him now, but Sam, we know so much more about Sam, is that now the show is trying to get us to root for him, but it's almost bad for Sam to be all trying to hit on Mercedes when she clearly already has a boyfriend. Yeah, I know this is high school drama and, we're not being completely realistic or anything like that. But still, it's more than a bit much that he should be concerned when he's all like, hey, don't be wiping off his face, come on with me. That was like, okay, seriously, you are dating me right now. You are clearly accepting this boy's advances a little bit. But, anyway, okay, here's a part that really got to me. And these are my notes, by the way, my deliciously handwritten notes. Okay, I understand that Will Schuester is very, connected with the Glee Club. I get that, and you all know where I'm going with this. But to say that, Finn has taught him more to be a man than anybody else, that's just creepy and weird. I mean, come on. Seriously. Do you have no friends that are your own age besides the other teachers? That a high school kid who does something really dumb at the end of this episode, by the way, which I'll get to, I'm just building up to that for you guys, is that, and girls, and other people out there, she's just such an idiot. And Finn's like, yeah, cool, I'll be your best man, whatever. By the way, I'm going to join the army. Okay, one that I had forgotten that they had characterized that Finn's dad was in the army. So cool on them for remembering that. But him wanting to join the army, I guess it sort of makes sense because he doesn't have anything else to do. But it just, what happened was that could have been fine. But the way they dealt with it later was weird. In that, I'll just get to that now. The thing is that then Schuster and Finn's mom and Kurt's dad had this big intervention, like, oh, you shouldn't join the army. You need to run my tire shop. Oh man. And then Finn's mom busts out the story, which is clearly a retcon, by the way, but you know what happens, is that, oh, well, to be fair, blah, 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 your dad was addicted to drugs and stuff, and just, what? That intervention in of itself, where Schuster is betraying Finn's trust, was already a bit weird, and then they bust out this whole story, and then Finn's like, what am I gonna do? I'm a failure now. Just, God, they could not have thought of another way to maybe tell this story and not ruin Finn's whole perception of his father. Once again, being honest is good, just the way they handled it was very awkward. Anyway, then there was the scene where they're all trying to figure out what Schuster should do for Emma. And the guys one was weird. He's dancing with them and made no sense. I didn't care. The one where the girls were singing was really great. One, we got to see Tina do something, yes, related to a guy. And I had a lot of hope when she ran into that bathroom after Mercedes. I'm like, are they just going to have a two characters? No, it's everybody else. So Tina got to do like two things this week. Yay! Characterization that almost exclusively focused on her with her boyfriend. Tina Watch should basically include some like characterization that has nothing to do with Mike Chang. Okay, like for real. So she got that one scene where she ran to the bathroom and said the one line to Rachel. Or not Rachel, Mercedes. Come on, please. Help me out here. But the singing was cute, and the Britney and Santana moment was awesome, and Tumblr and the internet exploded. Yay, as with all Glee stuff. You notice that this doesn't happen with Rachel and Finn stuff, except to be angry about it, Glee writers. Let's think about this for a second. Then, once again, Emma was awesome. And, okay, so the pool scene, where like, I know Sam, who also, yeah, he's on the swimming team, yay, that was cool, whatever, is that it's like, I'm going to do something. So they do this big synchronized dance number in the pool, which was cool, fine, awesome. But then Schuster is in this white tux. He takes the tux that's all white and clean, how Emma would like, and jumps in the pool, which I don't know how sanitary pools are, but I still think that would make Emma freak out a little bit. And he ruined the suit, and I'm not sure how that's supposed to say love. I get that putting together this whole number was showing love. So awkward. He didn't need to jump in the water. At least he didn't pull her into the water or anything, because that would have been awkward. Super, super awkward. But then also, so I'll just get to it now. The end, which came out of left field, by the way, it could have just ended the scene with Becky and Sue, which I liked a lot, by the way. I guess when they make Sue a human, they at least give her consistent characterization. Awesome. When she's human, except the parts where she's not, and whatever. But the thing also is, and I like the whole thing with, you know, her and Artie, her telling Artie to treat Becky like a normal person. That was cool. Okay, but the thing with Finn and Rachel at the end, where Finn proposes to her. Okay, Glee is not realistic. We all accept that Glee is not realistic. We all accept Glee is a fantasy where they sing songs and blah, blah, blah. But the relationships had, at least to this point, been at least kind of high school-y. Like, oh, I'm going to steal this person back, blah, blah, blah. This is pure soap opera-y crap, where he just pulls out the ring. He's like, will you marry me? Like, maybe they'll forget about this next week, or in a couple weeks, 2 weeks when it comes back. Yeah, come back for one episode, then leave for an episode. Smart job, Glee writers. Or, I shouldn't say Glee writers, the Fox scheduling team. Which they probably have a reason, but it's still kind of a tease for Glee people. But I guess that gets them excited for the Michael Jackson episode. Anyway, I digress. But the thing is that I propose to you. I mean, if she says yes, that's really awkward. And then there was the part in the episode where he's like, I don't have anything that's special to me at all, with Rachel standing right next to him. But the thing is that it felt really awkward and weird, and I'm going to propose to you. Why? Why are you proposing? I get that he's like, I want to hang on to something because my dad, blah, blah, blah. Gah! Glee, you are going too far. If you set this bar, you're never coming back in ridiculousness. This is why people make fun of you, Glee. You do this completely overdramatic, melodramatic stuff. You can do relationshipy stuff. That's fine. But this is just taken to a whole nother level that I just didn't like, and how they deal with it will be interesting, and how they'll deal with Finn going into the army will be interesting, if they remember. So the positives about this episode was I actually liked Sam. I liked that he got to do something. Whether they remember he's on the swim club after they get busted out that big number is anybody's guess, but whatever. I mean, shooting in that pool was probably not the most inexpensive thing they've ever done, but still. But it did look cool, and the characterization with Becky was fine. I like that a lot of characters did get to do things this episode. We got a lot of spread focus on anybody. Like, I didn't think Kurt was going to do anything in this episode, but then he got that little scene about not wanting to be accepted, which had nothing to do with a relationship, which I like that when a lot of characters are focused on relationships, we get things that are not about their relationships, which I like, because your whole life is not your relationship, which is a problem that Glee has, that people are only concerned about relationships. There's a life outside of relationships. People have hopes and dreams outside of that. And Kurt doesn't mention Blaine or anything like that because he shows that he has dreams that are independent of his significant other. Such a great thing. Apparently, Finn and Rachel, this concept is ridiculous. Kurt is the logical one. People like Kurt, all right? So overall, and the songs of this episode, the ones with the girls singing were cute, and the one at the end was nice. It's just, once again, I don't watch Glee for the music. I really don't. And only when it really stands out do I take notice. And this one, whatever. I will say, I was a little emotionally moved by this episode, especially with the scene with Emma where she was like, you get this incomplete person. And, I think a lot of people can relate to that. I mean, not everybody has OCD, but everybody has something that might hold them back in a relationship, whether it be like a previous experience with someone else you've dated or anything. I mean, anything can hold you back, or something like OCD. You want to be accepted for that, and you can't get better. You can't get better, even though some people don't need to get better. That's just how they are, and they can't help that. There's nothing, this is who I am, and I really like that, and that actually did bump this episode a lot for me. So what do I give this episode? The stuff with Finn and Rachel, as always, was really ridiculous. And Finn, I've always hailed as this every guy who would do things like that. The proposing thing just threw that out of the water, where it's like, okay, this is just freaking ridiculous. I can accept the army thing. I can accept all that, but that proposing thing, no. I'm done with that. So overall, this episode gets like a B-. A B-, yeah, because there was a lot of good things, and there was a lot of great characterization, and Emma's parents are still weird, and I don't understand why, Schuster even bothered to ask them, because they already hate him anyway, but whatever. Just overall, I did like this episode, and Tina Watch got a little bit, so that maybe bumps it up half a bit, even though the other part was about her relationship to a guy. But anyway, that's all for this week. We'll be coming back next week with we won't be coming back next week. What am I talking about? In 2 weeks, with the Michael Jackson episode, which proves to be, it's going to be one of those big Glee episodes. And will it be as forgettable, but who cares, as the Madonna episode, which I don't remember at all, or as rage-inducing as the Britney Spears episode, which I completely detested for all mankind? Or will it just be controversial like the Rocky Horror episode, which I was completely fine with, whatever. So, once again, this is Shamus Kelley, video producer for the Towerlight, with your Opinionated Glee reviews. I will see you all in 2 weeks. Leave comments. I like comments, as you see, even over the long extended break, I was responding to comments. Please leave comments about this episode. I want to talk about this episode. Is there something I missed? Ask my opinion about something if you want. Put your opinion out there. I can respond to that. I really like, talking about people's opinions about this show. So until next week, see you all later. 2 weeks.